Today I wanted to talk a little bit about how to add some notes to the minor pentatonic scale to give you more options and give you more different kinds of sounds. So we got like a A minor pentatonic scale here. Okay, so a lot of times people know how to work that pretty well. They can follow like this is the 1 and you go down from that to find the 4 chord, and you can slide up to get the 5 chord. So say if you're doing like a blues type thing, you want to know where those, the 1 and the 4 and the 5 are. Here's the 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord to the 5. Let's check those chords real quick. So this is an A7, 5, 7, 5, 6, 5, 5. And I'm doing this certain D7 here, which like starts on the 5th string, 5, 4, 5, 3. And I'm using that same shape to get up to the 5 chord. So we got our 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. You could also do the 4 chord like this. And that's starting on the A string, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. And you can take that up for the E7. So whichever ones you like. But if you're doing like a, say a 12-bar blues, this is the 1 chord to the 4, to the 1 twice, to the 4 twice, to the 1 twice, and then we'll start our turnaround, the 5, 5, 4, 1, 5. Okay, so if you were going to solo in this A minor pentatonic, the first thing that's really important is to be able to follow around the root notes of those different chords. So like I say, this is an A, this is an A here also. Let's start on this low A. So if we had this A here, we're going to have this D down here. So if you're working in this lower position, see how I'm doing riffs in the scale but working with the notes of those chords? And then at the turnaround I'd have like a... See, because that's my 4 and that's my 5 up here. So once again we got 1, 4, 5, and then here we got 1, 4, 5. You could see the 5 down here as well if you wanted. And then here in this higher position, 1 and then 4 below it and 5. So you definitely want to know how to work the 1, 4, and 5. Let's say I'll go like 2, 3, and a 1 chord, 4, 1, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5. So you want to know where all those spots are. Now moving on from there, I think a lot of people know how to do that pretty well. But do you know how to add some notes from the A7 arpeggio? Because you got an A7 chord there. So you also have extra notes outside of the minor pentatonic, like you have this major third, that C sharp note. And then you have it again here. And you have it again here. So being able to use the major third in a blues case like that gives you a lot more cool sounds going on. It gives you that happy note, which you didn't have before. And you can just really use this. Throwing that little... And a hammering into that third always sounds really good too, as opposed to just sort of hitting it on its own. Now here's another note. We got this 7th fret of the 2nd string in here. We're going to get to that in a second. That is part of that D chord. So you kind of got to be careful when you're using this major third. You want that to be when the A7 chord is happening. Now when the D7 chord is happening, it has its own arpeggio with its major third in it. So let's look at the A7 arpeggio. We got 5, 4, 7, and then the D string we got 5, 7, and then we got 6, and then we got 5, 8, 5, 9. So that was 5, and then 4, 7, and then 5, 7, 6, and then 5, 8, 5, 9. Now the D7 is going to start on the D note here on the 5th string. So that's 5, and then 4, 7, and then 5, 7, and then 7 on its own, and then 5, 8. Now check out what happens when I slide in from the minor third into these major thirds. You got that real bluesy sound. So going from a minor third into a major third is kind of like the perfect effect to go with the dominant 7 chord, because a dominant 7 chord comes from a major, but it has an element of minor. So bringing in the little elements of minor from a minor scale adds a lot to that sound. So let's look at the E7, same type of shape, 7, and then 6, 7, and then 7, 9, and then 9 by itself, and then 7, 10. Okay, so I'm going to play that 12-bar blues, and I'm going to show you how we can slide into these major thirds to get cooler sounds than just the pentatonic. So 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just by using some of those major thirds in the proper place, you can really bring out the most of your blues scale. Okay, so let's try that again. We're gonna have the A, we got the D7, there's that E, that 5 down there too. So the one thing I did over there when I got to the E that last time, you can always kind of go major pentatonic on these too. So this is like the BB box thing. Then I went to the D. Then I kind of just went back into my A stuff. Okay, so then there's other things to look at. So we do have the, the minor pentatonic down here, of course. You can kind of get away with using all these different notes down here at different times. So these 7s are from a major pentatonic A, right? But since we're mixing this up because we have a dominant 7 chord, you can use all those types of notes, just kind of figure out what you think sounds the best, Sometimes if I'm using this, you might stay away from the major third because you're getting so kind of dark minor with that, but you really can mix them up however you want. Here's a cool trick. Sliding into that highest note, like I said, from the minor third into the major third. And then the same thing there. Same thing there in each octave. So when you come up here, say we got this A here. So that's the same kind of thing as. So those are the same things in a different octave. So say if you get up into this type of shape, that's kind of what we were doing here with this D. Let's look at that riff. Let's try that up here for A. Let's try it for E. D. A. Finish down to E there. So it's good to know all your different positions of the minor pentatonic and where the 3s go into that. So let's look up here one more time. For this last thing, let's check out if we had like E to D to A to D. So like. Well, you could get into a riff like. Right? Let's Let's try that. 2, 3, and. And that's where those exercises, threes or those fours, that gets you ready for stuff like. And I put a little swing on that instead of straight. You know, straight beat. Here's the swing. All right, so throw some major thirds into your blues soloing. Keep track of which chord you're on so that you use the correct third at the right time. And have fun bluesing, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.